Educational research is undergoing a transition, moving from a reliance on numerical data toward a focus on human context. This shift stems from a realization that rigid numbers often fail to capture the unpredictable, complex reality of how people actually behave in a classroom. To better understand the learning process, researchers are increasingly adopting qualitative methods to investigate the nuances that statistical hypotheses often miss. The primary criticism of quantitative research centers on validity, specifically whether numerical, hard data accurately represents the human behaviors it claims to measure. Consider the work of psychologist Jean Piaget. While his research was influential, critics have long questioned the validity of his experimental conclusions. In a famous experiment, children claimed that different shaped containers held different amounts of liquid, even after being shown the capacity was the same. Piaget concluded the children had not yet reached a specific stage of cognitive development. However, critics suggest an alternative. The children may have simply misunderstood the experimenter's questions or felt social pressure to give a certain answer. Researcher Hugh Meehan found a similar flaw. Children were shown a medieval fortress and asked for its starting letter. Many chose D for Disneyland, not C for castle. The test documented mismatched expectations, not a lack of reasoning. These examples show that experiments are social interactions. Often, a wrong answer documents a social misunderstanding rather than a cognitive deficit. Quantitative research often relies on the assumption that social life consists of fixed mechanical relationships that can be isolated and measured like physical variables. In reality, human behavior involves constant interpretation and negotiation, which rarely produce the determinate, predictable outcomes that statistical models require. Recognizing this complexity, researchers in the 1960s began using ethnography and participant observation to study schools as lived environments over long periods. Instead of using rigid categories, they collect unstructured data, detailed field notes, and casual conversational interviews. This approach investigates a small number of cases in great detail, prioritizing verbal descriptions and explanations over statistical analyses. By treating actions as meaningful social events rather than mere data points, qualitative research attempts to provide a more grounded view of the educational experience. True insight into learning requires us to interpret the context behind human actions, rather than simply tallying scores on a spreadsheet. This briefing is brought to you by the IELTS Focus English Center. Reach us via Zalo at 084-770-5973.